This episode of Geek's Guide to the Galaxy is made possible thanks to support from listeners like you. So if you enjoyed the show and want it to continue, please support us on Patreon over at patreon.com/geeks or via PayPal over at geeksguideshow.com/crowdfunding. And I want to give a special thank you to Lance Miller, who just signed up this week to support us on Patreon. So big thanks again to everyone who's contributed. We really appreciate it. All right, so now let's get to our show. Hi, I'm David Barr Kirtley, author of the book Save Me Please and Other Stories, and welcome to episode 607 of Geek's Guide to the Galaxy. Today on the show, we'll be discussing the movies Timecop, Universal Soldier, Cyborg, and Replicant, all of which star the actor Jean-Claude Van Damme. And this will include spoilers for everything in those movies, so just be aware of that. And I'm joined by three guests. So first up, we've got Andrea Kail, making her 44th appearance on the show. She's a graduate of the Odyssey Writers Workshop, and her short fiction appears in the Writers of the Future anthology, Fantasy Magazine, and Lightspeed. She's been a television writer, producer, and script supervisor for shows such as Late Night with Conan O'Brien, The Chew, and WWE's Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. And she's currently a writer for Pixelberry Studios. So Andrea, welcome to the show.
Good to be back, Dave.
Then next up, we've got Matthew Kressel, making his 43rd appearance on the show. He's the author of the novels King of Shards, Queen of Static, and Space Trucker Jess, the short story collection Histories Within Us, and the writing advice book Dispatches from the Outer Deep. He also hosts the Nerd Count podcast along with Mercurio de Rivera, and together with Ellen Datlow, he hosts the monthly Fantastic Fiction reading series in New York City. So Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dave. Good to be back.
And also joining us today is Tom Gerencer, making his 37th appearance on the show. He's the author of the business book Think Like Google, the short story collection Intergalactic Refrigerator Repairmen Seldom Carry Cash, and the popular science book How It's Made, which he wrote for the Discovery Channel. His middle grade novel The Magic Ski Mountain is out now. So Tom, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me back.
Okay, and so watching these Jean-Claude Van Damme movies was Andrea's idea. So Andrea, why did you want us to watch these movies? And by why, I mean, oh God, why?
Basically, I'm just here for the Timecop. That's pretty much it. I just wanted to watch Timecop again for some reason. And by some reason, I mean, that's just it. Just I wanted a reason to watch it. And I was not disappointed. Honestly, I had never seen any of the other ones. And having watched them, I truly apologize to all of you. Although there's some highlights in there and some really, really low places. But we can get to them as we discuss each individual movie.
So had you ever seen any other Jean-Claude Van Damme movies? Like Bloodsport or Kickboxer or
I feel like I must have, but it's so long ago that maybe I'm just thinking I did because he was so like present, omnipresent in the 80s and 90s that maybe I'm just faking. Maybe I'm just like, my brain thinks I saw them. The only one I have very distinct memories of watching is Timecop. Several times. Many times.
Yeah, so I'll say that Jean-Claude Van Damme actually looms larger in my personal history than I would really care to admit, because my best friend in high school, he came to, he was from Russia, and he came when we were about 15. And he didn't speak any English, before moving to the U.S. And so, like, Jean-Claude Van Damme was kind of like an idol for him. And I think that, for a lot of kids who, if you weren't really a good actor, but you wanted to be famous, especially I think if you're a teenage boy and you're like, oh, I work out a lot, I can learn some martial arts. Jean-Claude Van Damme was kind of this aspirational figure for a lot of us. So So we spent a lot of time talking about Jean-Claude Van Damme and practicing our high kicks and stuff like that. Yeah, and I remembered I had never seen Cyborg or Replicant before, but I had, I definitely remembered Timecop and Universal Soldier, although I didn't remember them as well as I thought I did. But that's sort of my history with Jean-Claude Van Damme. So how about Matt? What's your history with Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Well, first off, I hadn't seen any of these films before, but I had seen other Van Damme films. My high school buddies, junior high school buddies, it was like a thing that we did. We were so cool that we would go out to like Blockbuster or the local movie store and rent movies, and that's what we did on Friday and Saturday. So yeah, we watched like a whole bunch of Van Damme stuff, and they all kind of blur in my mind. But I remember
these movies blur in my mind, and I just watched them.
Yep.
Right. So I remember like Hard Target and Lionheart and a bunch of the others, and they all even then seemed kind of ridiculous. I remember being like vaguely entertained by them in a way, but I was like, oh, not another Van Damme movie. Can't we do something else? It was like him and Steven Seagal. I felt like we're just everywhere. Like they were just like the go-to kick-ass people in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like you want like tough kick-ass cop or like, street rogue. Vigilante, that's who you go to.
Well, but I feel like there was like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone were like the pinnacle
and Chuck Norris
of that
Chuck
kind
Norris
of thing.
too.
Norris for sure.
Yeah.
Stallone, I sort of felt, like he did a couple of those, but he just never could really escape like Rambo and Rocky. Like that was his thing.
Yeah.
And like Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, but that's like 25 movies right there.
yeah, exactly. But I think like Schwarzenegger actually broke out of that role a little bit, with like Kindergarten Cop and what was the one with the twins with him and Danny DeVito?
It was called Twins.
Yeah.
And so I felt that like, he actually branched out of that, typecasting a little bit. But Van Damme, I don't think ever had that luxury.
Yeah.
But no, I hadn't seen these before, and I blame you, Andrea. And I want to ask because in one of the films, Replicant, which we'll get to, the replicant learns English by just sort of mimicry, and I'm wondering, did your Russian friend Dave like speak like Van Damme? Did he speak monosyllabic and kind of like?
Well, I mean, he had a very obviously he had a pretty heavy accent just learning English at the age of 15. But no, I mean, no, he was much more talkative than like verbal than Van Damme. But I want to get Tom in here too. So Tom, what is your history with Jean-Claude Van Damme?
I somehow managed to dodge all of these movies or block them or do a full split out of the way of them and then not punch my opponent. But I never watched these things, and I don't know how, because I had a very similar youth to Matthew in terms of having lots of friends around me who were always into martial arts and always working out, always sort of at the local gym where all the roid monkeys were, all the guys who were juicing, and they were always going like.
When did I say that?
Yeah, you I don't know if you heard yourself, but you said you were a big juicer back in the 80s.
Oh yeah, no, I must have blacked it out. I must have had some of that.
Well, what I meant,
memory drug that they gave out in Universal Soldier. Yeah,
I guess I was taking too long to get to the point, which was that they all watched those kind of movies. I would just spend hours in the video store, like on a Friday night, walking around and being like, "Oh, I hope we don't have to watch another martial arts or bad horror movie." And they'd be like, "No, let's rent this one." And half the time they'd hold the cover up and it would show this picture of this really bad looking monster, and they'd be like, that looks so cool. And I would just be like, it's not going to look cool in the movie. It's going to look so stupid. Or they would be like, hold up a Bruce Lee movie or there was another guy after Bruce Lee died named Bruce Lie, L-I, who tried to like fill the void. And, Chuck Norris and Charles Bronson and Van Damme and all of those, especially Bronson and Van Damme, I saw parts of a couple of them. I watched more Bronson than I did Van Damme, but they both have a similar kind of thing where there's just so much brutal graphic violence that it just is very off-putting to me. And even as a kid, I'd be like, I don't want to watch this. This is just grossing me out, making me feel bad. And somehow I didn't watch. They were watching those things all the time, and somehow I missed the Van Damme movies. Which now, thank you, Andrea.
You're all welcome. I don't know what to tell you.
All right, so
I just widened your horizons. You're welcome.
So in preparation for this, I did a lot of research into Jean-Claude Van Damme. So does anyone know anything about Jean-Claude Van Damme's biography, or should I just
I learned a little bit. I learned a little bit in the past few days, and I got to say the most fascinating part about his history is the new Jean-Claude Van Johnson series. It's actually kind of good. I watched the first couple of episodes, and they were kind of good. But go aahead.
All I remember is really the muscles from Brussels, because you really have to mention that.
Yeah,
that was his nickname.
All right. Well, so I'll tell you what I discovered. So he was born in 1960 in Belgium, and as a kid he was scrawny, and so his dad encouraged him to take an interest in sports, which led him to get very seriously into karate and bodybuilding. And he actually competed in tournaments, like at a very high level in both bodybuilding and karate. And he had opened his own gym in Brussels, but he sold it and sort of left everything behind to move to Los Angeles because he wanted to get into movies. And so for a while, I think multiple years, he kind of hung around Los Angeles, just demonstrating his karate skills and showing pictures of himself doing karate to anyone who would listen. Apparently leaving pictures of himself doing karate on the windshields of producers' cars, things like that. And his first minor break was that he got hired as a bouncer at a bar owned by Chuck Norris, which led to him getting kind of a gig as Chuck Norris's sparring partner. And he landed a couple small roles in sort of low budget, martial arts movies. But finally he was able to but he, I think the knowing Chuck Norris, kind of increased his kind of cred and visibility, enough that he was able to kind of give a karate demonstration to a producer who cast him as the lead in Bloodsport. And that was his real big break into movies. There's actually a lot of interesting stuff about Bloodsport, even though we did not watch it for this panel that I'm going to mention. Does anyone know about the crazy history of Bloodsport?
No.
The movie?
No, that's one of the few Van Damme movies I have seen, but I didn't know the history of it.
Yeah, so Bloodsport is based on a memoir by Frank Dux describing how he fought in a secret illegal martial arts tournament. And he apparently made the whole thing up. Frank Dux also promotes such claims as that he can punch through bulletproof glass, that he won a Medal of Honor, but the mission was so secret that it's not mentioned in any military records, and that he was once offered $25,000 to assassinate Steven Seagal.
I love this guy already.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's made up because you don't have to pay people to want to kill Steven Seagal. That just makes no sense.
I almost did a spit take. I was just drinking water and I almost total spit take all over the computer.
And so one of the funniest things is that Frank Dux, from this secret martial arts tournament where people are, horribly maimed and die, he got a trophy for winning it. But it turns out that the trophy happened to be manufactured at a trophy shop near his home in the San Fernando Valley. So make of that what you will. Oh, also, this guy Frank Dux sued Van Damme at one point And in the course of this lawsuit, he claims that he, Frank Dux, had taught Van Damme everything he knows about martial arts, to which Van Damme's lawyer responded, quote, "There are records to document his martial arts acclaim. Why, just look at his movies. He didn't get those roles on his acting ability." So yeah, he's a
That's gotta sting.
he's an interesting. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot more like crazy Van Damme stuff I could go into, but we should get into these movies. So Andrea, you wanted to watch Timecop.
I did.
So I thought we would start with that one, because if we start with Cyborg, I think people are just going to stop listening. So we'll save that one.
Oh, no, I completely
for later.
disagree on this one. But
Yeah,
but let's start with Timecop.
No, Cyborg has a lot of, it's so bad we can make a lot of fun of that movie. But go ahead.
Oh, God, it's so much fun.
All right.
But all right, Timecop.
All right, we're going to start with Timecop. So
Okay.
what, if anything, did you remember about Timecop going into this?
It's funny. I remember Gloria Rubin as the sidekick, but then I completely forgot, and this is a spoiler, that she betrays him. I totally forgot about that. I remember there was a wife, and of course the wife dies because, of course. And I remember one shot where he's in his self-driving car that miraculously works in 2004. And he's a time cop. And the split on the kitchen cabinets. You can't really forget that image. That's what I remembered, but I remember enjoying it. And honestly, it really lived up to what I remember. It is. I don't know what's wrong with you guys if you didn't like it, because it is a fun movie. And it's actually much better. Like it's honestly not a bad movie, because everybody in it is like a good actor except him. But it sort of elevates his performance.
Wait, before we get too much into the movie, I just want to say that this is 100% of what I remembered about the movie. Van Damme dodges an attack by doing a split on some washing machines. That's how I remembered it.
Yeah. All right. Washing machines, whatever.
Yeah.
And at the end, he kills the villain by pushing him into a younger version of himself.
Well, Dave,
I inferred from the title that he was a time cop. But that's literally 100% of what I remembered about this movie.
But you can't, the same matter can't occupy the same space or something like that.
Yeah.
It was totally logical that he would blow up if he touched himself.
No, I mean, that's why I remembered it, is because that's one of the best parts of the movie.
It actually follows pretty standard time travel logic.
Seriously?
Well, you can't go. You can't go. Wait. I mean, you can't go forward because it hasn't happened yet. That's that's standard. The matter can't. You can't touch yourself. I mean, it's usually like you can't see yourself, and then bad shit happens. But it was actually like pretty standard stuff.
I feel like the writers of this movie watched a bunch of like time travel movies and just like throwing in the kitchen sink. Like, it would be cool if they had a sled that propelled them into the future, like Back to the Future. Except once you get to the future, the sled disappears and you're just walking around.
The past. They're going to the past.
Excuse me. They're going into the past, but when they return to the future, they come back on the sled.
Yeah, I know. It makes zero sense. I love it.
It's a rocket sled, though. That makes it plausible.
It's cool. Aren't rocket sleds cool?
Exactly.
They missed like a lot of interesting opportunities, I think. Like they have the photograph, right? So he gets the photograph with his wife, and I'm like, oh, that's going to be important later. She's like, here, it'll remind you of the future. But it's not. He just looks at it later. Like I thought he was going to find his future self in the photograph later and be like, oh my God, I was there. And then I need to go back there.
I think the writers set that up and then forgot they did it.
Yeah.
All right, let's back up a little bit. So our hero, Jean-Claude Van Damme, is a police officer in the present day.
Mm.
And just as his wife is about to tell him that she's pregnant, his house gets blown up by criminals, killing her. And this apparently does not arouse any suspicions. This is, that they would blow up his whole house. Random criminals would blow up his whole house. And then decades later, he's now a time cop whose job is to go back in time and stop criminals from changing the past or profiting off of the past. And so how you travel into the past is you have this like rocket sled on a track, and you pass through this kind of like Stargate thing, and you get teleported into the past. And if anything goes wrong, you end up crashing into a wall and becoming a bloody smear on the wall in front of you, which I actually thought was pretty cool. I don't know why that wall was there, but maybe there was some, important time travel equipment or something in there.
There always needs to be a wall.
Yeah, you can't just have it fail safe. It should totally kill everybody if it fails.
And then, if you're two, former colleagues that go splat on the wall, you just leave the blood stains there. You don't clean it off.
Right. Why would you wash it off?
There's no such thing as bleach in the future.
I know.
Right. And blood does not turn brown. It stays red after it dries. Or maybe they just retouch it to make sure people know.
It's blood, yeah.
No, it's because of time. Time is not affecting the blood. So that was a really key plot point that you obviously just missed there, Tom.
I don't know why. I don't know why we're all picking apart the science of this movie. I mean, for one thing, they're clearly dead on with the woman carbon dates the piece of gold,
right?
Because gold has a lot of carbon in it that you could.
And then also, I think it's only 10 years in the future. I think they go from 94 to 2004. But apparently, all of the cars suddenly become Blade Runner cars. Every single car has all these like greebles and panels and looks like
all glued onto it.
All glued onto it. Literally no windows anymore. But like everything else is the same. The only unless they're in like the time travel lab, I don't see anything else in the world that's really all that different. I mean, maybe there's a couple like computer screens or something.
Well, they clearly blew their special effects budget on the one car, and then they were like, what are you going to do with this house with like the clapboard siding? I guess we're just going to leave it as is.
Yeah, just leave it. It's good. It's fine.
So there's a website, there's an article online you can find called Temporal Anomalies in Time Travel Movies Unravels Timecop. And if you want someone to like gripe about every single way in which the time travel is not totally rigorous in this movie, that's the article to go to. It's like page after page after page of complaining about the time travel in Timecop. I'm not going to go into that here so much because this is sort of like Back to the Future time travel, where, you just kind of have to accept that the rules of time travel function in a particular way in this story, and they're not consistent from scene to scene, and just kind of have to go with it.
Yeah, I know you don't like your show to get too political, but I thought the villain in this was very Trump-like. He was like, oh, I'm gonna be so rich that I can't be bought, and then I also liked that there were noted that there was like on TV and then and the white supremacist party got blah 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 votes, and I was like, they got that right.
I wrote down a couple of the pieces of dialogue in this, so it's like your polls you're killing in the urban centers, gaining with the pro-life, pro-death penalty, close our borders, anti-immigration faction. I mean, I'm saying, doesn't that sound familiar? It's science fiction once again is pressing about who the bad guys are going to be. And then he says in the car, elections are won with television. You don't need the press. You don't need endorsements. You don't even need the truth. You need money. Yeah. And I was just like,
no, it was spot on with that. I like that part worked. And Andrew, you mentioned that his partner, brief partner, betrays him. What was her name? Gloria Rubin.
Fielding.
Yeah,
Sarah Fielding.
Yeah.
And like that comes out of nowhere. Like, was that set up? I mean, like, I was like, because I got up to go to the bathroom for like a minute, and I'm like, I didn't pause it. I'm like, this movie's not good enough to pause. Sorry. and I came back, and I'm like, wait, what did I miss? Like,
well, they did foreshadow that like half the agents were corrupted.
Yeah.
So
right.
But they didn't. They actually didn't even try to. They didn't even say like that he's holding her family hostage or something. Like they tried to sort of hand wave that.
They were just like, you picked the wrong friend.
Yeah. It's just so wonderful.
Well,
and then when she's in the hospital, he goes to see her and he wakes her up and she's like, oh, hi.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like,
why
hi,
is
how you
everybody
doing?
so
Wait.
so friendly?
Speaking of the politics, though, I don't know if you guys know that this is based on a graphic novel
No.
from Dark
Cool.
Horse.
No.
Cool.
And I
No.
haven't read it, but I looked up a plot synopsis, and it's very different. But it prominently involves traveling back in time to South Africa and like changing history so that the apartheid regime ends sooner. So I think maybe the white supremacist party thing. There's like little like echoes of what was in the graphic novel. But they obviously I think the dead wife, I think they added for the movie. You know,
Of course.
they made it
You have to
more
have the fridge the wife in order to give him any kind of motive.
So can I ask a question? And you were talking about inconsistencies in the time travel stuff. So like, does his like younger self die at the end of this, and then he jumps 10 years into the future? Does that mean that his wife waited 10 years for him to come back, or did I not follow that right?
You thought way too hard about this movie. I didn't even. I saw stuff like that, and I was like, I'm not. My brain is not going to work on.
Like
that
she's just
problem.
like, "Hey, you're back," and I'm like, "Wait, was he gone for 10 years?" Like I didn't.
No.
Quite...
They
No,
were
no.
even though she got shot and he got shot, although he was apparently wearing a bulletproof vest. He puts them both down on the grass and then walks away and then comes back to the present, and I guess they both lived. But did he know it was like it didn't make any sense? Like the ending made zero sense.
Yeah, which
I loved. Come on.
One of the time travel influences in this is clearly the Ray Bradbury story, A Sound of Thunder, where a guy goes back in time and back to like the Jurassic or something and steps on a butterfly, and then when he comes back to his own time, the evil politician is now about to win the election, where he had been a long shot candidate before. And so, but yeah, so this is, the movie kind of takes the idea that if you travel back in time and change something, when you arrive back in your own time, everything has changed, but there's this whole like history that now you don't remember, but everybody else lived through.
Right.
So no, I'm quite certain that his wife saw him this whole, he's been living with his kid and everything this whole time, and he's just returned to a time where now that's sort of the given status quo.
I mean, you guys are focusing on all the inconsistencies in the time travel. I don't think anybody's going to ever pick apart the martial arts in it. And I think that's kind of what Jean-Claude Van Damme movies are, is they're like, it's kind of like porn. It's like, well, I'm not really here for the story. I'm not really here for the plot. I'm kind of here to watch the martial arts.
Yeah.
But it does have kind of a cool, story. It has a great cast. There were some cool sequences, like the whole idea of like this guy's committing suicide, and then they pull him out of that while he's falling off a building. They pull him out and bring him to a trial where he's convicted, and then they're like, "Yeah, okay, you're sentenced to death, and we're just going to put you back where you're going to fall to your death now." That was a really cool idea, and I thought some of the writing was very crisp. When I particularly liked the banter with the director friend, I can't remember the actor's name, but he was great. Like he had some great lines. Like her blood pressure is going to shake her teeth loose. If she farts, she'll get ahead of the pod. Like
no, there's some great lines in here. There was one line I wrote
Bruce
down.
McGill?
Bruce McGill, thank you.
Where
Yeah.
somebody in one of the senators in that meeting points out Ron Sevler and goes, his dorsal fin's a bit bigger than yours, or something like that. I'm like, wow, that's a great way to say he's a bigger shark than you are.
Yeah, there was no cliches and cliche dialogue lines, I should say.
No,
in this.
It did really good. Well, except for "you look like shit," which is classic, and I think there was something else. But oh boy, that's gotta hurt when he shoots him in the nuts.
That's right.
Well, I liked when the senator from the future says to the senator from the past, like, "Oh, would you lay off the donuts for God's sake?"
Yeah. And I just want to point out, the minute you see Ron Silver in a movie, he's the bad guy,
right?
And I love that.
Exactly.
There was a really cool scene, too, where Jean-Claude Van Damme kicks Ron Silver in the face. He kicks the young version in the face, and then a scar immediately kind of forms on the old version, which, again, is really hard to explain from a time travel perspective, but is really cool. And I feel quite certain I feel quite certain that a young Rian Johnson watched this movie and then, was influenced to write Looper. I don't know if you remember the scene in Looper where they have the young version, they're cutting off his fingers and the fingers are disappearing from the older version. Yeah, that's one of the coolest.
I also quite liked, even though it was pretty early for computer CGI, but when the two versions of the senators touch each other and they kind of merge into this disgusting blob, reminded me of, it reminded me weirdly of The Substance, but I thought that was pretty grotesque and kind of, you always have to have the villain die in some horrific way. They can't just be like, oh yeah. You had a heart attack. It's got to be like he touched his former self and he dissolved in a blood of meat matter.
With screaming mouths.
Screaming
is that what happened? I watched this on E, and they had this weird way of censoring everything by putting this translucent sphere over everything. So every time there was a naked woman or something, she'd suddenly be covered by this big sphere. And then that part when he was melting, I was having to imagine what was happening.
Oh, that's a bizarre thing to edit or cover up.
Yeah. It was the editing was really the editing things out was really weird.
Yeah, and you never know in a movie from the 80s or 90s when there's just going to be a smash cut to a naked woman. It could just happen. It could happen at any moment.
That's right.
There is gratuitous nakedness, nudity throughout every single one of these movies.
That's
I started just writing it down here we got the naked woman. And also, and to be fair, at least they also give you shots of him naked too. Every single movie, he takes his clothes off, and you get a shot of his ass, which is quite good. That was a fine ass.
I'm starting to see why you wanted to.
No, honestly, I didn't know about the other movies, and I completely forgot about this. But it was just you can't really miss it because it's.
You can't miss his ass.
You can't miss his ass.
It's not a small ass.
My other favorite part about this particular movie is it's so 1994, the time of our lives when you can still put a bunch of pictures of naked women on your desk at work and everybody thinks that's totally fine.
Yeah.
I'm the old days.
Well, and then the female officer is you should have a gallery showing or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's literally watching VR porn at his desk. He's like, yeah, don't do that on company time or something like that,
Yep.
Back to work,
Back to work.
So like Andrea was the first half of this movie, I was man, this is entertainment. This is martial arts, good looking people,
naked women,
cool cars, time travel, quips. I was man, I'm having a great time. I did feel like the movie dragged in the second half when we got to the when there's the final showdown at his house. I felt like that went on for a really long time. I don't know if anyone else shared that feeling.
I felt like all of these movies were kind of long. One of them was okay. I don't remember the length of them actually, but
they're all about 130, 140. I was checking
Replicant 140.
Might have been 150.
Yeah, that was a little long.
Replicant is going to be a whole conversation, so let's just save that.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. But so I don't know. Did people feel like this was mindless fun? Or did everyone have fun watching this movie? Is my question.
If you take the fun off there, I agree.
Oh, come on!
There were parts of this that were very Mystery Science Theater 3000 appropriate. I just wanted if I watched this with friends and had seen it before and could just make fun of the lines with people that I'm with, then I would enjoy it. But just watching it alone, I'm just kind of like cringing for 2 hours.
Oh, I see. I truly enjoy this movie.
Okay.
It is just as fun as I remember watching it. Now, if you want to talk about like when we get to Cyborg, now that is Mystery Science Theater.
Oh,
3000
definitely.
worthy.
Right.
In fact,
That
I'd
is
be surprised if they
classic.
haven't done that.
They might have. Yeah, they might have.
All right. Well, let me referring to my notes here. Let me give some of my suggestions for this movie. Like I guess one of my big problems is that Jean-Claude Van Damme. I mean, Tom mentions the action scenes. Like a lot of times he just prevails for no real reason other than that he's just awesome. And I think it would have been better if he was clever in some way. So, for example, there's a scene where Ron Silver shoots at him and just misses and busts this like tank of liquid nitrogen or something
Whatever,
like that. Yeah. And I was like, it would be cool if like Jean-Claude Van Damme, once he's been captured, is kind of like stalling for time and he's just subtly inching over in front of the cooling tank. And then when Ron Silver shoots at him, then it punctures it and that helps him escape. You know, I thought that would have been cool. Because it like bugged me too how they attack him with this taser that like makes a loud warning sound and then there's like a 3-second delay before it fires. I was like, this is not a very useful weapon. Like one of the big problems. This probably made sense in the script, but like he has to leave Fielding behind in the past when the cops show up, and it makes no sense because he's like right there. And then he goes back to the future and he's like, oh, she could have still been alive. She's the witness I need. I need to go back for her. It's like, dude, you were just there.
Yeah.
So if they staged that differently so that the cops were actually like between him and her when he, you know, had to escape back into the future. Yeah, I don't know. I have some suggestions along these lines, but
I think you should write a strongly worded letter. Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah. It really bugged me how a bad guy attacks him with a wrench and he knocks the guy out and then takes his gun. It's like, dude, if you had a gun, why did you attack him with the wrench?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Because a wrench looks cool.
Well, there's a lot of moments in this movie where he's got a gun, but you know what? I'm really just going to beat him up. It was just like, you have a gun, just shoot him. But that's the fun of this movie. It's ridiculous.
Let me explain my plans to you.
Yes,
before
exactly.
I kill you.
And I just also want to point out, and this extends over every single one of these movies, there is always a fight scene in the pouring rain, and frequently there's stuff on fire all around them. Like every single movie, there's a fight in the pouring rain.
And some kind of tractor or combine or
somebody gets spiked by something. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. Sorry, guys. You guys. I'm sorry you didn't like this movie.
I will get
it's
my
still a
revenge.
favorite.
I'm
sure you will.
So this movie out of these has the highest Rotten Tomatoes score at a whopping 43%.
Oh.
That's not that bad.
Does everyone agree that this is the highlight of this slate of movies?
No.
Yes. Oh.
I don't. I thought, I'm not saying this is a good movie, but I thought Replicant could have been a good movie with some changes, but it was surprisingly, I don't know, intriguing, disturbing, really interesting concept, poorly executed in many ways, but I don't know. I found that one kind of the most engaging, the one I'm still thinking about. I'm not really thinking about Timecop anymore.
I thoroughly disagree with that. But
that's fine.
That's what we're here for.
Again, I didn't say it was a good movie, but if you're saying like, should it be above the 43%? I'm like, yeah, I feel like that should be maybe 47%.
It's just striking to me that Tom's like, I'm not really thinking about Timecop anymore as we're talking about Timecop.
He's already moved on.
He's done.
God
done.
bless.
I don't know about you.
No, seriously, I found myself watching these movies and being like, man, I wonder if in the near future, Neuralink will have like, if I could get a subscription to it, I could get it like plugged into my head. And there was like a button I could hold down or like a flip I could switch, a switch I could flip, where I'd be watching a movie like this and it would go into my eyes and straight out of my long-term and short-term memory, so it would be like it never happened.
Hmm.
You got a eternal sunshine of the spotless mind in a way.
It's like, oh, I'm pressing the button on this one. This is gone.
All right. Well, I think we should move on to another movie, but before we do, I'm just going to talk about what happened after Timecop came out. So Timecop was such a smash success that Universal Studios wanted to make three sequels to it. And they offered Van Damme $12 million per movie to be in the sequels.
Wow.
And he demanded $20 million because he wanted to be paid as much as Jim Carrey.
I bet he doesn't regret that.
And basically they said no. And so those sequels never happened, and Universal Studios blacklisted him. He later admitted that he was drunk and high on cocaine when he was negotiating this deal.
Doesn't he have an agent? Like, your agent's supposed to do that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And so I think there were various things that hurt his career, like being high on cocaine all the time.
Yeah.
But I think this particular incident was like the biggest blow. And he, ended up doing kind of made for like direct to video kind of movies, in the years following this. But that's a story for another day.
Like his film Huck that's coming out.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I can't
no.
wait to
Huckleberry
watch that one.
Finn.
No.
From the visionary mind of Mark Twain. That was literally on the ad. Yeah.
That's not real. That's from Jean-Claude Van Johnson. It's hilarious. If you guys have not watched that, that whole Huck part is hilarious.
Okay, wait, hold on. I'm trying to keep this in some semblance of chronological order. So let's save the Johnson stuff for the end.
Okay.
All right.
But we're going to move on to what is definitely the second best well-known of these movies, Universal Soldier. So, wait, had anybody besides me seen Universal Soldier before?
No, I've never
No.
seen it.
Okay, so this is 100% of what I remembered about Universal Soldier. Van Damme and Lundgren are soldiers brought back from the dead who now shrug off bullets. At the end, Van Damme kills Lundgren with a harvesting machine.
That's pretty much
That's
the
pretty
whole
much
plot.
it, yeah.
We go to the next movie.
Well, it's funny because so the premise is that Van Damme, Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren are American soldiers fighting in Vietnam, and Lundgren has gone crazy and is massacring civilians, and Van Damme stands up to him, and they end up killing each other, and their bodies are like recruited, or whatever you would say, designated for the secret government project that involves like massively speeding up their cellular activities, so that they come back from the dead and heal very quickly and are almost indestructible, and are kind of being used as like sort of zombie soldiers by the government.
Yeah.
So how about Matt? What was it like watching this movie for the first time in 2025?
This was the first one that I watched, and I had no idea going into it. And my first comment was Heart of Darkness vibe. My second comment was joke ? Like, I was like, is this a parody? Like, is this sad? Like, I didn't understand. Like, when this movie came out, like, did the writers and directors all take it seriously? Because very quickly, I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Well, I can speak to, because it was funny. I mean, I don't know how old I was when this came out, like a teenager. And I remembered it being kind of spooky, like the idea that these soldiers, are brought back to life by the government and are brainwashed basically, and you can shoot them and they don't die. I remembered that being spooky. Like watching it now, this was like mostly a like fish out of water comedy movie to me. This reminded me of nothing so much as Short Circuit, to be honest with you. It was like it was like the same. It's like the same, there's like this military project, and for some reason he goes on a road trip with a girl who like encourages him get in touch with his humanity and everything. So yeah,
it felt like to me like it was Terminator through a funhouse mirror, like without the time travel, because he's kind of like this robot, and the woman is like really trying hard to be Sarah Connor. She just had that vibe to me.
She had the Lois Lane vibe.
Yeah,
I guess I'll explain.
Yeah.
I'll explain. So there's this. Yeah. So there's these soldiers, and there's this like classic 80s. I mean, this movie is from the 90s, early 90s, but there's this classic 80s kind of like scumbag reporter, like always chasing the story no matter what reporter, and they end up.
She's not a scumbag.
No.
Yeah, I
she's
think
like
she's
spunky.
She's spunky.
Like, yeah, she's
tough
got
talking
pluck.
lady
Kinda like
reporter,
his girlfriend.
ambitious.
She's got moxie.
Yeah, moxie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let me. Okay.
Style.
All right. I retract this. You know, like sort of like this, but this is like I'm talking about the archetype of that you would see like every reporter in the 80s is like all they care about is like getting the story.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, consequences be damned, kind of.
Very like comic booky. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I see the Lois Lane reference now.
And so like somehow like she like sneaks onto the base where they are, or like the staging area, whatever, where they are, and she's gonna get killed by Dolph Lundgren, and this like gives Van Damme flashbacks to Vietnam, and he ends up rescuing her, and they escape together, and go on this road trip, and hijinks ensue. So Tom, what'd you think of Universal Soldier?
I didn't think this was terrible. Maybe it's because I had just watched Timecop. Sorry, Andrea. But
man, it's rough crowd.
I thought the female lead was very entertaining. I thought the writing was good in places. There was a good use of humor. There's a lot of like funny parts. I thought Dolph Lundgren was very menacing, and I liked the short appearance from Jerry Orbach because I was just thinking nobody puts Jean-Claude in a corner. But that's basically it. I didn't love it. I didn't come back to it later. I'm same with Timecop. I'm not thinking about it like it's not, you know, any kind of classic or anything, but it was entertaining popcorn stuff for while it lasted, and it didn't overstay its welcome, I felt like.
I actually was surprised how much I liked watching this. I mean, because I remembered it being not great. I mean, like, so it was like way funnier than I remembered, but also actually better than I remembered. I was never bored. You know, like Dolph Lundgren is awesome.
Yep.
I watched the whole thing like with a smile on my face. I mean, it's not like you have to run out and watch it or anything, but I was surprised how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Andrea, you agree?
I agree. I didn't know anything besides the basic premise. I start watching this movie and I'm like, ugh, ridiculous Vietnam thing. And of course, fighting in the rain, and it ends that way too. But I'm watching it and I'm like, actually, this setup is actually pretty good. And as it kept going, I'm like, this is actually a solid plot. Like, there's nothing to really quibble about it. It all makes sense. You know, he sees his commanding officer go crazy in Vietnam. He's about to kill some innocent kids. He tries to save them. It doesn't work. They kill each other. And then they're sent into this shady government project, and they come back as zombie soldiers. And then a similar visual of two young kids, a boy and a girl, being afraid in this hostage situation. And that triggers him to come back, to start remembering what happened in the past. And I'm like, it all hangs together. It's pretty solid. I think if they remade it now, it actually would work. You know, it would just get some better writing and acting. And yes, I exclude Dolph Lundgren from this because he can do no wrong. I love that. I love that giant Swede.
I actually thought the ice thing was pretty cool too. They have this like super accelerated cellular activity to heal themselves, but it causes their bodies to overheat, so they have to keep him like cryogenically frozen. And so when he's out in the fields, you know, they just have to put him in a bathtub full of ice. Is the only way he can get his body temperature down enough to stay functional. I thought that was pretty cool, actually.
I actually think the only really unbelievable thing about this this movie is the fact that they were trying to pass him off as a Louisiana Creole French. I think that was just ridiculous.
Right.
But other than that, I'm like, no, it works.
Was
It
anybody
totally
else
works.
thinking of Harlan Ellison watching this?
I wasn't, but go on.
Yeah.
Well, now I don't want to.
Let's see your work.
I just thought, I was thinking, what was the Harlan Ellison story we covered, Dave, about Vietnam? It was kind of making me think of that, and it just kind of felt like a Harlan Ellison story to me.
You're talking about the one where the guy returns to his hometown and everybody hates him.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
has psychic powers. Yeah.
I mean, it's not the same plot, but it just kind of felt like that vibe to me.
Yeah. No, I could see that. I mean, actually, the biggest problem I had, like plot wise, and I don't know why they included this dialogue at all, but there's a part where the colonel in charge of this operation says, quote, "This whole goddamn program is off the shelf. Do you really think for 1 second those wimps at the Pentagon would allow the regeneration of dead soldiers? If this is uncovered now, we're all going to jail. Do I make myself clear?" Like, I just thought that was so stupid. Like just make it like a secret black ops kind of thing would be fine. Right.
Who's appropriating the hundreds of millions of dollars for this?
Well, this is the thing.
mean,
so these guys died in Vietnam, and this is like 1992 or something.
Yeah.
And so for all of that time, this has been the fact that they're bringing dead soldiers back to life and using them as zombie soldiers is like flown under the radar. Like no one's questioning the appropriations for this. I mean, I know there's a lot of
years.
I know there's a lot of bloat in the Pentagon budget.
Not
but,
this much blood.
Well, you were just talking about the whole like idea of like it's a black ops or it's not black ops, but it's like this top secret thing. But meanwhile, like the colonel just goes before the press and like, this is another example of our, wonderful soldiers. And I'm like, if this is a secret op,
it's not very secret.
And how many freaking like terrorist attacks are you getting where you need this organ? Like, I don't know. It was like, is this a domestic thing? Like, it would be more interesting, I think, if they were like overseas somewhere, but I guess this is the 90s and the international threat wasn't big on most Americans' minds, I guess, at that point. But I don't think I love this movie as much as you guys.
I didn't say love.
I didn't say love, but I just thought of all I think was like, yeah, it's a pretty solid plot. That's my review.
I wasn't bored
I think
watching
the setup,
it. That's my...
I think the setup was pretty good, but my problem with a lot of these Van Damme movies is like there's just so much, like so many scenes where people are being chased and fighting, and then it's more chasing and more fighting and more chasing and more fighting. And it becomes, I don't know, after a while, I'm like, all right, like just get to the point, kill him or don't,
Yeah.
I did like some of the interactions between the reporter and Van Damme and every time I see Dolph Lundgren on screen, I just want to say, I must break you.
I must
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was just ridiculous where, when they, what is that? The Hoover Dam at the beginning, one of the big dams.
It's the Hoover Dam.
It's the Hoover Dam. And so like the soldiers swoop in and they're like, go to plan B, and they take their headsets off and put them on the walkie-talkies. Like,
yeah, I know.
Like that's something that, my friends and I would have thought of when we were 12. And I'm like, and like they're doing it as this like secret plan, like they're buying it, and like play the recording.
And I also kind of thought like, they're like rappelling off the edge of the dam. And I'm like, is this just stuff that the Navy SEALs do? Like, why do they need
dead soldiers?
Robot soldiers. Yeah.
Although it was actually, I really liked the part where they shoot the Universal Soldier guy dead, and they assume he's dead because they've shot him a bunch of times. And then when their backs are turned, he just gets up and kills the guy with the bomb. I thought that was badass.
Mm.
That's definitely not something the Navy SEALs would do.
I mean,
unless maybe they can. I don't know.
Something that occurred to me, which I don't think this movie thought about for even half a second, was that at one point Van Damme kills other soldiers that were trained like him. And if they all could potentially have resurfaced memories like him, then wouldn't that be a kind of murder? But I don't think that he or even the writers even thought of that. They're like, let's just shoot them. They're enemies, kill them, But But I was like, there is some interesting moral implications, right? Because if these guys are just brainwashed and following orders and you kill them, is that a kind of murder?
Well, it's self-defense, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
No,
I just want to point. Go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry.
I agree, though, that that there are definitely interesting thematic depths to be plumbed here that this movie doesn't plumb. But all the stuff with, with Vietnam and, soldiers being forced to serve even after they're dead. There's like really interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
Isn't it like this basically kind of the same thing as RoboCop? Like, like a low rent RoboCop?
Yes. Now, which was first? I don't remember what year.
RoboCop's
RoboCop
80s.
was definitely first because this is
First.
92,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. It was 80s.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I agree they could remake this and make something cool out of it. There actually have been a lot of sequels.
Oh, really? Oh.
There have been 5 sequels, if I'm counting right. Van Damme, there were 2 like made for TV ones that Van Damme wasn't in, so I don't know anything about those. Then there was one called Universal Soldier: The Return that I think was theatrical. It's rated 5% on Rotten Tomatoes, so I skipped that one. And then actually, I think he's the son of the director of Timecop, directed 2 more recently. Universal Soldier: Regeneration and Universal Soldier: Day of Reckoning. And
nepotism, man.
I mean, I don't know. Very, very possibly. Regeneration is not easy to find online, so I didn't watch that one. I did watch Day of Reckoning. I think the concept is pretty cool, and the action scenes are really pretty cool, but the dialogue and just like it. The dialogue just does not explain what's going on very well and doesn't really make you care about the characters or make them feel very believable or, real. So I think it's only for martial arts fans. It's sort of like basically an excuse for different, martial artists to square off against each other.
You're talking about Day of Reckoning?
Day of Reckoning, yeah.
I watched that one.
Oh, yes. Okay, so what did you think?
I had a hard time getting around the very disturbing violence in the first 20 minutes. But I actually thought and I agree, it was a lot of martial arts and a lot of just like killing and graphic stuff. But if you see through all of that, I actually thought the story was really compelling, was really cool. It was kind of like an Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind question, except in reverse. Like should we talk about it at all? Or?
Well, that's what I was talking about with the concept is actually pretty cool. We're going to go into spoilers for Day of Reckoning, so if you don't want it spoiled, stop listening now. But Tom, go ahead.
Yeah, so I thought the ending was fantastic, and the way everything built up to the ending, I was just like, wow, that movie was better than I thought it was going to be. I was put off by all the violence, like I said, but the end of it, where he's basically he's one of these. Not cyborg, but he's one of these like genetically created fighters, and he at the beginning you think, okay, this squad, this very chilling scene, the squad shows up and executes his family, but leaves him alive in a coma, and then he wakes.
Jean-Claude Van Damme is commanding the soldiers who kill his family at the beginning.
Correct, and then he spends the entire movie in this kind of Memento-like quest, detective story to try to figure out like what happened, who did this, how can I stop them? And at the end of it, he learns he never had a family. He's only 4 days old. The memories of his family were implanted as a motivation for him to go and kill these other super warriors. And because they found that they couldn't, whatever they tried to do, there wasn't enough motivation for the super warriors they were creating to go and kill the other ones. So when they finally figured out, if we create a fake family and put a memory in there that those super warriors killed the fake family, then the person will have such motivation that they'll succeed. And that's exactly what happens. But the coolest part is after he finds out that, no, this is bullshit. It's all made up, and we can take this out of your head so that you won't have to like have this pain anymore. He's like, okay, yes. But then during the operation, he's like, I can't. He starts to lose his memories of his wife and daughter, And he's like, he just can't. And so he breaks free of the table, the surgical table, and he kills everybody. And he's just like, no, you're not taking this away from me. And at the end, it comes down to this really cool climax where the director of this whole project is like, look, you never had a family. And he's like, you killed my family. He's like, you never had a family. He's like, but you put that in my head that I lost my family. This is your fault. And he goes, no, like Jean-Claude Van Damme, basically whatever his name is in the movie, he killed your family. And he goes, yeah, but you put him up to it. And then he kills the guy. It's so cool to me because it never happened, but to him, it was so real. He did not want to part from the pain of it because he didn't want to lose the love that he felt. I was blown away, honestly, by the ending of that movie. The whole movie, I was kind of like, ugh, more martial arts and more stuff. But then by the end, I was like, holy shit, that was actually really mind blowing. The end of it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That sounds like Westworld, and that implanted memories to give you motivations for different things.
I only saw the original 60s movie or 70s movie. I've not seen the newer stuff.
The newer stuff is kind of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
similar.
There's lots of like movies and shows and stuff with similar ideas. But yeah, it was cool. They just needed better dialogue basically throughout the movie. But since Andrea and Matt didn't watch it, I don't want to spend too much time on it. So let's move on.
Well, now that you guys love Jean-Claude Van Damme movies so much.
Did he live at the end of this movie? Like, I genuinely cannot remember the end of the movie other than the, Dolph Lundgren getting put through the shredder.
Yeah, he did live.
He lived?
He did live. He and the reporter kind of go off together into the sunset.
They just hug and that's it.
Yeah.
Right.
But actually, I mean, Dolph Lundgren definitely didn't live at the end of this movie, and they brought him back.
No. He got put through the shredder.
But they brought him back in the sequels anyway. So
no, they did.
Well, it's genetic, so yeah.
So I mean, it's like a clone or something.
God.
Yeah.
All right, well,
when he comes out in the warm liquid goo phase.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
All right. Cyborg.
Yes.
So this is a very early Van Damme
89
movie.
1989.
Oh, okay. It seems earlier. It seems earlier.
It does.
He made a lot of movies in the 90s, didn't he? So this is kind of.
He did.
But yes.
Was it billed as a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, or was he just an unknown at this point? Like,
wasn't the movie poster like him as a cyborg, even though he's not a cyborg?
Well, that's one of my issues with this movie. And by issues, I mean it's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but so the premise basically is that this is a like really shameless Mad Max ripoff.
Yep.
And the world has been destroyed by some virus that's killed pretty much everybody. And there's one group of surviving scientists in Atlanta, presumably like the remnants of the Center for Disease Control. And there's some information that might help create a cure for the virus, but it's in a computer bank in New York City. And so they take this woman and like sort of like scoop out her brain and replace it with like cybernetics in a very unpersuasive special effects scene.
Because there's no way they could just use a flash drive, but go ahead.
Which is the best part of the movie, by the way, is when they just...
And they send her to New York, and she does... This is all backstory for the movie. This all happens before the movie starts. But so she goes to New York, and she retrieves this vital data, but then when she's on her way back to return it to Atlanta, she gets like waylaid by a group of... They're called pirates, like bandits, basically. And Jean-Claude Van Damme, who's like a wandering like samurai type character, basically, like steps in to help. So Matt, what'd you think of Cyborg?
Well, yeah, I mean, like the first couple of minutes, I was like, oh, I'm going to enjoy making fun of this movie. It was like New York, and then they show like the Brooklyn Bridge like collapsed into or was it like the Williamsburg Bridge collapsed into the water into the East River, and then there's like a subtext that says "in the future." I'm like, oh, in case I didn't know that. You know?
we better take the George Washington Bridge.
It could have been the 70s, to be fair.
Right. True. The 70s New York was pretty bad.
Yeah.
There was some crazy dialogue in this. There was very much like Last of Us plot, where it's like, you know, we have the cure to the plague and we have to get to the city and we need you to escort me, you know, because I have it inside of me. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a good setup. You know, once she's like, I'm a cyborg and the dad is inside of me, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And, you know, they took apart, they show like the back of her head, which, you know, even for 89, this was really bad. Like it was just like so obviously like stop motion. Which I was like, huh.
Well, and a puppet, like a really unconvincing puppet.
Yeah. And it just, and then, but they lingered on it for so long, like the operation of replacing her, and it made no sense. And then suddenly we're in like, you know, they're like, we're gonna go to Atlanta, and then they cut to a scene and they're on like a boat. I'm like,
yes,
wait a minute.
by boat to Atlanta. I loved it.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, wait, they were going New York to Atlanta and then I'm like, they're in the Atlantic.
Well, then halfway through the movie, the script editor was like, we better make this the intercoastal waterway.
Yeah. So I was like,
but it was the ocean. It was the ocean. It was no waterway.
It was very clearly, and you know, and they do that same thing that all like the 80s and 90s movies do to make something look futuristic. You just put a lot of metal panels on the outside, right? That's all you need to make something look like it's from the future. And then it just got so ridiculous. And then at some point, like Van Damme gets like strung up on a cross. And then he's out there, and I'm like, okay, I guess
that was the best scene in the movie. That was the one I had seen that scene in the 80s, and it stuck in my head. And I had not seen the movie, but when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is that really cool scene where the guy's on a cross and he karate kicks, like he heel kicks the cross so many times that he chops it in half and it falls down, and then he's fine because somebody comes back and helps him. It's like, well, if he would have just waited and not kicked the cross down, he still would have been rescued, but it wouldn't have looked as cool.
Right. So, I mean, you know, this is the sound of the rubber mallet hitting your head with the you know, Jesus metaphor, the Savior metaphor. But I don't know. Like, I couldn't, like, the villain was just so cartoonishly ridiculous. I couldn't get involved in it. And like, the special effects were just so bad. It's like, yeah, we're going to have like a post-apocalyptic setting. Let's just film in like an old graffitied building. That'll fool everyone. Okay.
All right, wait. So I'm going to disagree with you on the villain. I mean, the villain was like crazy over the top, but he was like my favorite part of this movie because I don't know, there was just something like really visually striking about him. You know, he's sort of memorable.
His blue
in a way
contact lenses.
Yeah. I mean, well, also the fact that he's like 7 feet tall and like super ripped, and I don't know, he just like dreadlocks and all this stuff. So actually, I looked up who he is, and wait, what's his name? Vincent Klin.
He's a dentist from Minnesota. No.
So he's actually a surfer. And at one point, he was like one of the top 5 surfers in the world.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Wow.
And a producer just saw him surfing and was like, hey, you want to be in a movie? And that's how he ended up in this movie.
Huh.
And
was he in other movies after this?
Well, it's funny you should ask. So you may recognize him from Point Break. So,
oh, really?
Okay.
So in Point Break, which is about surfers who rob banks, early on, Keanu Reeves, who's a FBI agent, suspects this particular group of surfers of being the bank robbers, and ends up getting into a fight where Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze have to fight a bunch of surfers, and Vincent Klin is one of the surfers that they fight.
I'm sorry, you just completely made me and Matt and Andrea all feel really old, because the fact that you have to explain this, it's like, thank you, Jesse. I know what Point Break is. But go ahead.
All right. So I'm just in case there's any listeners who don't know Point Break by heart, like we all do,
who aren't in their mid-50s.
And so another one of the surfers in that group that they fight is Anthony Kiedis, the lead singer of the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he was supposed to have, so in the scene, he gets punched in the face once and knocked out. And there was supposed to be more, but he didn't make it to the stunt, rehearsals, whatever you call it. And so they had to like cut his role in the fight down to just getting punched and taken out of the fight right away.
Oh,
that's too bad.
So anyway, that was the most interesting thing I have to say about Cyborg, is that it made me do a little deep dive into Point Break. But yeah, anyway, I thought the villain was like one of the high points of the movie for me, actually. In a movie, there were very few high points. But Tom, I don't know what you think of Cyborg.
I just kept thinking, no matter what happens in the post-apocalyptic future, at least we can take comfort in the fact that there will still be Versace and fitness centers, because everybody is ripped and everybody is super stylish in this movie. So I love that. I actually thought the cinematography was really good. I have to say, like, there were some really painful shots where the camera was put in a place that I wouldn't have expected it to be put. And I thought that was very good. I also noticed that, once again, that sound effects editors love their loons, because they will put them where there would never be a loon just because it sounds spooky. That's coming from somebody who's from Maine. So
yeah, this is the bird.
Can you make a loon sound for those people who don't know what a loon sounds like?
I absolutely cannot, although most of my friends growing up could. I thought the movie was basically Mad Max without the cars. The whole second act was just basically people walking into water, walking out of water, running in water, and fighting in water. And I really had this thought of, like, I wonder what the guy who like played the tense like synth organ through the whole movie, if he was ever like, that's me playing that. But that's about it. When you mentioned the cinematography, the one sequence where they're in the sewer, I thought was visually striking with the, I don't know, sort of like, different colored lights and, casting. You mean when they were walking in the water in the sewer? Yeah.
Yeah.
And fighting in the sewer water? Yeah. Was that before or after they were walking and fighting in the water on the intercoastal waterway?
And
that's exactly
Andrea, there's your gratuitous nudity in this.
Oh,
as well.
God.
There's a scene where she's like, I'm going to go skinny dip in the ocean.
That's right.
The waterway.
strips her clothes off.
There's your water.
And cavorts into the water. Like, sweet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was great.
That was so much fun.
And there's the save the cat moment where she starts to like get her clothes off, and he reaches over and you're like, here we go. And then he kind of wraps it back up again.
Yeah.
Like, nope, you're not going to do that.
He's a gentleman.
Right. He's a gentle warrior.
And Matt, I don't know if you noticed, but at one point, the characters refer to the cyborg as a, quote, skin job. So,
yes. I did notice that. Yeah.
You must have loved this movie because of that, right?
No, I didn't. I did notice the reference, and I was like, yeah. I mean, this movie borrows a lot from like everything.
Yeah, everything.
And I feel like a lot of the Van Damme movies that we watched for this, they were just sort of like referencing every single movie and not realizing what makes those particular elements in those other movies good and why they're used in that way. And they're just like, oh, yeah, cool dudes in cool costumes, that they're ripped and carrying swords. Let's put that in here. Yeah. And let's have a boat.
That's what I mean about this. These movies are like porn, because it's always like, hey, you like robot movies? I got a robot movie with karate. You like
without
like
much
movies?
robot.
I got a spaceship movie with karate. It's like they did, and then you put it next to the Star Wars or whatever, RoboCop or whatever, and people are like, I liked RoboCop.
It also has that Escape from New York. Like that first shot was like right at Escape from New York.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
that's as good as it got.
I'll just explain that skin job. That's a reference to Blade Runner, if anyone doesn't know. And Replicant, the name of our next movie that we're going to talk about. Obviously.
Wait, are we going past Cyborg?
No, we're not. I'm just
okay.
I'm just.
Man.
I'm just mentioning like you guys are talking about that these Van Damme movies just kind of lift, not even a lift, like plunder elements from better movies. That's just two examples of that. Okay, so there was one point in the story where I thought something interesting was going to happen.
And then it didn't.
And then it didn't. But so there's a part where Van Damme thinks that he's rescued the cyborg, and she says, quote, "I'm not going with you. You're not strong enough to get me to Atlanta. Fender would eventually catch us, maybe kill me, certainly kill you. Look, Fender must be destroyed. In Atlanta, we have the means. I'll lead him to his death. Nothing can stop him in this world, not even you." So that seemed to me to set up some pretty cool, like, reversals of fortune or, unexpected twists or, characters betraying each other or manipulating each other or something interesting that did not in any way happen. But I think you could have made this story a lot better by leaning into that part. And somehow,
there's a lot of ways you could have made this better. I mean, it's not just that one thing.
You could have made a different movie.
So the writer had some had a guitar fetish because everybody's name is like Marshall Strat and Gibson Rickenbacker and Fender Tremolo.
What?
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah. Trying to remember some of the others, but they were all like guitar names.
Okay, but in terms of the story, so Andrea, do you have any ideas how to improve this? Like, first of all, was anyone else struck by that moment, like I was, or does anyone have any rewrite suggestions for this?
I think
script?
I think I pretty much checked out at that point. What I did think was I kept waiting for it to be revealed that he is a cyborg too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's
Fender.
Names, or Fender. He's named the movie. The name of the movie is Cyborg, and the only cyborg is this woman who never does very much anything really cyborg-y except for take her head off.
Well, and the other, I hate to interrupt, but the other thing is that Fender said he hated water and he didn't want anything to do with water, and I was like, aha, he's a cyborg too, and that never.
Also, his name is Fender, which is a metal part of a car, so
true. Or a guitar.
And Bender from Futurama is a robot.
Bender. Yeah.
Cyborg is a lot more marketable than Cyborg Escort.
Well, plus he had those blue eyes, those like blue contact eyes. Yeah. I totally thought he was going to be a cyborg.
I thought Jean-Claude Van Damme is on the poster and it says cyborg. Like, how do you not make the guy on the poster the cyborg? How are you selling a movie about cyborgs when your main character isn't a cyborg? It was just I really thought we were going to get at some point a reveal that he is a cyborg too, but that did not happen.
The whole premise of like her being a cyborg, it's like, they could have just made her a robot from the beginning and that could have been the reveal, right? Like, they're like, we need to turn a human into this data carrier. And we're going to you'll never be the same after. I'll do it.
It made no sense.
But
it made no sense.
But she does, but also she doesn't do anything in the story.
No, she does nothing.
Like, why is the movie named after her when she doesn't do anything?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Because because nobody's going to go to a movie called Guy or like Guy with Swords.
Escort.
No, but wait, Tom, stay with me here. They could have called the movie Cyborg and given the cyborg something to do in the movie.
Yeah.
That's my proposed.
She's only in it for she's got about 10 minutes of screen time. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Or at least have him escort her there and they're chased. Not have her go off with the pirate guys and then he's got to chase her and them with just some random annoying woman who just randomly takes her clothes off for no reason. But, who am I to criticize?
All right. Enough Cyborg.
I just want to say, despite all of this, I actually really enjoyed this movie because I just watched it with absolute open-mouthed incredulity at how terrible it was. And
it's definitely in the so bad
gleeful,
it's good.
Gleeful gleefully
It is so
enjoyed
bad. It's
this.
good, actually.
Yes. And I don't know how we missed this on our bad 80s sci-fi movies episode.
That is true.
Like, how did we
true.
sleep
I was thinking
on this
that,
masterpiece?
I'm like, was this secretly another bad 80s, early 90s sci-fi episode? And then you were just pulling a fast one on us.
Yeah.
I think
we missed a gem here.
This does kind of reminds me somehow of Hawk the Slayer. It's like in that same like terrible, like even below the usual terrible 80s movies.
Which one was Hawk the Slayer? I know I watched
the
it.
The one with the elf who kind of seems like a robot and
yes,
crossbow that fires really fast. That they just do with editing.
That was another one that it was just like such a delight to watch because it was so bad.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone could check out our earlier panel on awesomely bad 80s fantasy movies, whatever it's called.
Fantasy and sci-fi movies. Yeah. Okay,
but let's get to Replicant. Okay, so Replicant, I actually thought the idea of this was really cool. I have to say. So the idea of this is that there's a serial killer and they have his, they've collected a sample of his blood from one of the crime scenes, but he's not in the DNA database. So they use his blood to create a clone of him. And the clone has like a telepathic connection to the killer. And so a like grizzled detective teams up with the clone to try to catch the serial killer. I thought that was actually a pretty cool idea for a movie.
And that's where the coolness ends.
This was not that movie.
No.
But so Andrea, and I'd never seen or heard of this movie before.
Nope.
So Andrea, what'd you think of Replicant?
Okay. So, I've been doing Geek's Guide for how many episodes you said? 44? So 44 episodes I've been there. And we have watched hundreds of movies at this point. Movies and TV shows.
You're kidding. Go ahead, but you're kidding. I'm waiting for where this is going.
Okay, so hundreds of movies. Some of them have been fantastic. And some of them have been terrible. And I've had a lot of fun either way. This is the first time I have ever walked away from a movie angry, enraged, offended. Any other synonym you can come up with for red hot mad, this is what I felt watching this movie. Because basically, science fiction shit aside, this is basically a movie where I'm watching a man abuse a man-child with the understanding, a man with the understanding of a child.
Yes.
The entire thing is child abuse. I mean, he's an adult. Let's get that out. But he's still a child. And it's just abuse scene after abuse scene, mental, emotional, physical abuse. Mm-hmm. It was enraging. It was triggering in some ways. And that right there, I just like, how is this cop not the bad guy? Like this guy is an abuser. He's got rage issues. Like, and I don't understand how anybody thought this was a good idea. And then to top off the abuse situation, we then get a sexual assault scene with the prostitute. Cause that's what that was. Like, yeah.
Let's set that scene aside for the moment.
Okay.
We're going to come back to that.
Yes, we sure are.
But before we get to that, I mean, I actually think one thing I thought was good about this movie is I actually thought Jean-Claude Van Damme's performance as the Replicant was fantastic. I mean, because
he didn't have a lot of dialogue.
Because he had almost no dialogue. Yeah, but and I guess maybe because he's like a ballet dancer and bodybuilder and martial artist and everything, he's just has good like physical control over his body. But
don't forget gymnast.
Gymnast. I mean, he gave I thought a fantastic performance as like basically like a toddler in a man's body.
Yeah.
And I have a toddler currently. And it just like some of his body language and expressions was just like eerie. It was like eerie how well it captured like a toddler. This is the only movie, I'm sure the only Jean-Claude Van Damme movie I've ever seen where I forgot that it was him for like stretches of the movie. He was like just disappeared into that
playing
character.
a completely different character. Yeah.
So like
yeah.
This was the only movie I've ever seen where I was like, wow, he's a good actor, at least in this very like specific context. But Matt, go ahead.
Well, we just did the panel on Alien Earth, and in that you have, children in adult bodies, and it reminded me at least that part of that. And I do agree with you, Dave, that when he's like this helpless kid, he played that very well. I thought he did a really good job, and contrasting that with, he's also playing the villain, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, he's got a little bit of range. I do agree with you, Andrea. Like, the cop, Jake Riley, Michael Rooker is the actor. Jake Riley, yeah. Jake is so abusive to him, and like I get it that this is a different time, and that what's acceptable is a little bit different, and you can get like, this cop has been scarred from watching all, having to chase this guy who's killing these mothers. So he's upset, and he can only see the killer in the clone and not the child. And so I wanted the movie to acknowledge that. And I thought if the movie had acknowledged that, and he came to this realization, it's like, oh my God, I'm not, you're a different person. You're your own human, and I need to see that. I need to recognize that. Or maybe if he didn't do that, but other people sort of said, that's just a child. What are you doing? Like, but the movie doesn't acknowledge it. And there is
one scene, that insanely bizarre scene where he's ripping the guy's clothes off in the bathroom with the sauna in his house, and his mother walks in. Yeah, which is just right there. And then like right after that, they go outside, and the mother's like, abusing children is what makes them bad or makes them evil. She says something like that. At this point, I was so angry about watching him rip the pants off a child that I was, I kind of zoned out from, I disassociated completely.
And then,
but then there is that one line. And that's it.
Okay. Well, the movie just sort of ends where it's like, oh, he just lives happily ever after with the hooker.
Okay, wait. We're not getting into the hooker yet. But wait,
I want to say one more thing, which goes back to the beginning. Doesn't Van Damme, the villain, look almost exactly like Tommy Wiseau in The Room in this? Like, I kept seeing the actor
it's
from
the hair.
Room. But I mean, even the face and everything. Like, I'm wondering if Tommy Wiseau saw this movie and was like, "That's who I want to be. I want to be that badass."
Well, wait. Could I just say about what Andrea was saying too about so the villain in this movie murders mothers because he was abused as a kid and is like taking his revenge on like whenever he sees a mother like shout at her kid or like anything like that, they go on his list as a future victim. And I thought that's really interesting what you said, Andrea, that like the whole character arc of Michael Rooker's character could be that he mistreats this replicant because he thinks it's he can't draw a distinction in his mind between the person that it's a clone of and it, but that it is its own individual. And like he goes from being the like abusive parent figure to being the loving parent figure that would allow it not to turn into the killer or like something. There's like really potentially strong thematic material there that the movie never taps into at all.
Never taps into. That's the problem. I saw it too. It's like, oh, you're trying to make a point about how abuse, hurt people, blah, blah, blah. But it never pays out. And he just continues to be a complete asshole. Like he's an asshole to the end of the movie.
Well,
it's funny. I find no redeeming value in that character at all.
Yeah, he's hard to watch. There was another movie he was in the 90s where he played somebody's father and the kid ended up killing himself and he was an abusive parent and he does that role so well. And isn't he the father in Guardians of the Galaxy? He's the guy with the
he's the adopted. Well, he's the blue guy who adopted Chris Pratt.
Right.
And he plays such a menacing, scary sort of father figure that he's very hard to watch in this movie. And that was I found that very off-putting as well, all the abuse, and I was thinking the same thing, Andrea. But then they kind of ham-handedly tried to they're like, well, we're going to have his mother deliver this pearl of wisdom, like you can't abuse people. And then his solution to that is, well, okay, you're right. I locked him up naked on the bathroom floor, so I guess I'll give him a blanket. And a pillow. And then Jean-Claude Van Damme is like, thank you.
Thank you.
Like, he's so happy that he's like, I'm still locked up right next to the toilet, but I've got a blanket now. And he's like, so
problem
grateful.
Solved.
I know, exactly. And it's like, oh, he's learning. And I just that was very ham-handed, and they were trying definitely to make that point that I hated that. I mean, that's what I mean by the brutal stuff that's very hard to watch, that's off-putting and makes me sick to my stomach. But what I liked about this movie was they were very much setting up like, okay, so you've got this guy who's basically a clean slate. They took a serial killer, they cloned him. Now we're getting into like nature versus nurture, and how's he going to turn out? Well, now we've got this guy who's abusing him. And I thought they were leading us up to, is he or is he not, which they were leading us up to, is he or is he not going to kill this guy who's abusing him? Is he going to go with the serial killer, or is he going to kill the guy? And they were kind of, I was like, I don't know. The whole movie, I'm like, he could wind up being like, I'm going to kill him. Probably not, because I knew the kind of movie it was, or he could wind up saving him. And then I was really enjoying that conflict and really enjoying, I did not like the cop character, but I liked that he couldn't help himself and that he was pushing this guy into a zone where then watching Jean-Claude Van Damme's character, you're thinking, okay, I was thinking, well, he's now got to choose. Is he going to kill this guy, or is he going to rise above that? And is he going to be like, no, I'm going to be good regardless of how people are treating me? And that was who I was focused on, is his character arc more so than the cops. And then at the end, I thought there was going to be a really good ending where I thought it was going to be, you don't know which one of them survived. Because when the guy he's got the hoodie on and he's at the mailbox, and I was like, oh, we don't know if it's like who got it, because they dropped the hint about like the only ones that survived were the dead people in the freezer lockers. And I was like, so one of them got into a freezer locker. And now we see somebody in a hoodie, and it's clearly his build. We don't know if it's the evil guy or the good guy. And then they like, oh, let's put the happy ending on the end where he goes and walks off into the sunset with the prostitute. I was like, okay, whoops. They didn't really do that. They should have, but
actually, you know what? I'm playing off of that. It would have been cool if the serial killer version had cut his hair off and made himself look like the replicant.
Yeah,
that would have been cool.
I was thinking the same thing, and then fooled everybody.
Yeah.
It happens so often in these shows where there's like a doppelganger that someone, I think it happened in one of the Alien films. Yeah, I mean, I think that people's tastes for dark endings have changed, and I think now people almost kind of expect it, or at least believe it's a possibility, whereas I think back then it was just like
happy ending.
Yeah People didn't want to come out of the theater depressed or disturbed.
Happy ending with a girl. It's got to be a happy ending with a girl,
right?
That's right.
Who is like super friendly with him? After
wait. Before
Before
we get into that, the other thing at the beginning I want to mention is that, like I said, I thought this idea of pairing up a like grizzled detective with a clone to help solve a murder is actually a really good pitch for a movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The problem with that is that you need some logical reason for them to be together, and this movie flatly, like comprehensively fails to provide that. Yeah. And it's a huge problem. And so, like, basically, the NSA, I think they called them the NSB for some reason.
NSF, that's a National Science Foundation.
NSD.
Whatever it is. Yeah, it's NS something. It's obviously the NSA. They create this clone and just, like, give it to this, like, out-of-control street cop who, like, is just, like, driving away from them and won't cooperate in any way. It makes no sense at all.
Yeah, it makes no sense at all.
And then he's like, oh, he's super dangerous. He's modeled off a serial killer. I don't trust him at all. You know what I'll do? I'll bring him home to my mom.
Don't even get me started on that.
And I'll leave him alone with my kid chained up to a copper pipe that a 5-year-old could break.
And I think that their reasoning for making, like, he says, you guys deal with terrorists. And he's like, well, we wanted to try this first because behavior patterns if serial killers and terrorists have the same behavior patterns. And I'm like, I don't think so. Like, that's not correct. All my notes when I was watching this are all like crazy questions. Like I have here, I just got to read these off. You're climbing down the side of a building held like a baby? Why would the killer get on the bus? Why does Jake go completely off the rails when the serial killer taunts him? Emotional much? Behavior patterns are similar between serial killers and terrorists? Why are they teaching him gymnastics? Why would you antagonize him? What is the point of the whole scene in the destroyed building with the FBI agents? Why would you bring the killer replicant to a house with a child in it? Is the cop supposed to be a good guy in any way? He lives with his mother and she finds him in the sauna taking the guy's pants off? Why did they check his face against the computer files before?
Oh, wait,
and then this finally ends with, this entire plan is terrible.
Yeah, well, the thing that the NSA doesn't want him, like, all he has to do to catch the serial killer is take a picture of the replicant's face and feed it into the computer, and the NSA won't let him. I mean, none of it makes any sense at all.
That actually struck me as like a really smart, like something we're probably going to have in the future, not cloning for this purpose, but that you could take some DNA and you could use a computer simulation in the future, supercomputer simulation, to generate what the person looked like, so that if you had a crime happen and you had no idea who committed it, there was no camera footage or anything, you could find DNA at the scene and be like, here's who was there. Here's their faces.
Yeah. No, I'm sure.
That's what I was thinking of when I was watching that part. I was like, that's something that could be useful.
Andrea, I was thinking about your comment about like teaching him gymnastics. I mean, they did it because they were like, oh, Van Damme actually is really good at the parallel bars. So they're like, we need to figure out a way to incorporate that into a scene. So let's have him swinging around at the abandoned factory. And well, how could we, show that how did he learn this? He was a child.
Yes, exactly.
He watched a video.
Exactly.
That's how you learn. Yeah. That's how you learn how to swing
by just watching. Yeah. No, it was so obviously just let's drop this Band-Aid in here to fix the stupid plot hole we have because this is what we want to do. Yeah, it was.
All right.
Oh boy.
So we're running a little short on time. So let's get into the hooker thing.
Can I just add one thing? There was one thing I did like.
Okay.
When he goes to the hospital to see his mother, the serial killer, and shows her pictures of the women he killed to torture her because she was a bad mother. I thought that was actually really interesting. Like,
that was disturbing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that was cool.
And she's like
you're a
she
bad
can't talk.
boy. Yeah.
So he's like, he confesses all his crimes to his mother to torment her, but she can't tell anybody because she's kind of
I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
That was cool. Other than that, yeah.
Okay, but so if you haven't seen this movie, let me describe this insane scene that happens like in the middle of this movie. So the clone has gotten away. He's like gone off on his own for some reason. I think there's some chase or something. And somehow he just happens to wander into the red light district, and like a streetwalker like takes him back to her apartment, even though he doesn't really talk. And then they're kind of like messing around. And then she asks if he has money, and he like continues to say nothing. And then she calls like her pimp and his thugs to come over because the guy has no money. And then he like forces her, the clone like forces her. I might have that order of events a little bit off.
Yeah, it's he forces her down first and then she gets away. But
and then he's like just like humping her as she's like screaming no.
Well, I think what happened was he saw there was a porno playing on the TV, and I think like he learned by watching TV, and I think he saw that's what was happening on TV. It's like, oh, I'm going to replicate that, and then but it was still really, really uncomfortable,
disturbing.
And then the pimp comes in, and then he like beats up the pimp and his thugs, and then gets arrested.
Yep.
And then the prostitute is like, "You're my hero for beating up the pimp. I'll wait for you." Like,
yeah. No, what she says is, wait, I wrote it down. Come see me. Come look me up when you get out of prison. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
And the whole thing is just so weird and so out of place. And I can only this is my theory to explain this, is that like some popular movies around this time were like Rain Man and Pretty Woman, and they just like plugged in pieces of those into this. That is my operating theory. I don't know if anyone else has any theories for how this subplot ended up in the movie, but it is so weird. And then
the disturbing is the word.
And then at the end, like he goes off, you know, there's like a happily ever after where the clone and the prostitute go off together. And it's
the happy ending.
Yeah. Oh, I knew you were going to come back. Let's get out of here.
Let's
Where
go
are you
into the
going to
brothel.
go? Yeah.
You know that's going to work out. You just they should have made a sequel just about those two. That would have been fun to watch.
Oh my God. Oh man.
The toddler and the and the prostitute.
Yeah. Yeah, that was oh boy. Yeah, I was really angry watching this movie. Like totally enraged.
See, Matt, did you have something you were going to say earlier about the prostitute?
No, I mean only that at the end it just sort of, you know, the movie's like, oh, it's a happily ever after that he's going off with this prostitute into who knows where, and I just was like, wait a minute, like, yeah, like you said, he's a child, and you know, she's clearly, you know, probably, you know, not the best role model necessarily for him. So I don't know. It was just at that point, you know, the movie had lost all its credibility. So I just kind of like laughed. I'm like, okay, that's how it's ending. All right. But I think that's all I wanted to say about that.
It's kind of like there's really nothing to say after you go child abuse and sexual assault. Okay, that pretty much wraps it up here. I did like the fact that they named the nursing home that the mother's in the Nepenthe Hospital or Nepenthe State Hospital or something, which is like, if you know any classics, Nepenthe is the
forgetting, right?
Yeah, it's the drug they take to forget their former lives, and it literally means in Greek forget no grief, like it's to forget your grief. And I was like, interesting, but like somebody got a fancy classics degree somewhere along the way, and a little heavy-handed if you know what it means. But I was just like, it's so randomly like Homer,
especially because you want to forget this movie. I think
please.
It comes full circle back to, if I had a button I could use to erase, you know, movies as I was watching them, I would totally watch these movies with that.
This is definitely the one I would erase out of my brain. Definitely.
Yeah, but again, the premise is cool. Like you could make a pretty good movie out of this premise, and it's too bad that they sort of squandered it on this one.
I actually thought the Michael Rooker as Jake, I thought he's a pretty good actor in this. I thought
Michael Rooker's, you know, I mean, he's great.
He's a great actor. He's just scary.
Yeah.
All right. So I also watched. How much time do we have left? I'll do this briefly. I also watched a movie called JCVD. So I guess like Van Damme, you know, his career was pretty much in the toilet, and then he's had a bit of a resurgence recently that I think started, or at least, you know, part of it was this movie JCVD from 2008, where it's this kind of metafictional thing where he's playing himself, and he's about to lose custody of his kids because his wife's lawyer is arguing that his violent movies make him an unfit parent, and he needs to pay his attorney, his divorce attorney, but he has no money, so he's like getting some like advance. You know, he's getting one of his film companies to advance him a payment, so he goes to the bank to collect it, and just happens to walk into the middle of a bank robbery. And through a comedy of errors, the police think that Jean-Claude Van Damme, is robbing the bank, and even though he's actually a hostage. And so then a big crowd of his fans gathers outside, and it becomes this big, like media circus.
Dog Day Afternoon style? The movie Dog Day Afternoon?
Dave doesn't know what you're talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, Dave.
Yeah, you got to watch that movie. It's a great movie.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll watch it right after I get off the call here. But so this sounds
or
like
maybe
it
the
should
taking
be...
of Pelham 123. There's another one for Dave.
Yeah.
This sounds like it should be funny, but I found it not that funny. But part of the problem, I think, is that it was filmed originally in French and then like dubbed into English, which really...
That's funny because I'm thinking this sounds like a very French plot.
It's very French, yeah. I mean, the director is French, I believe. But I think that sort of like, the fact that he was able to laugh at himself and, sort of rehabilitated his career a little bit. And then, Tom, you mentioned there's this sort of like TV thing, Jean-Claude Van Johnson. You said you watched the first couple episodes.
Yeah, episode 1 was pretty doggone good. Episode 2 was a little bit weaker, and I wonder how the rest of the series goes, but it gets fairly good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's basically the same. It's like probably a continuation of JCVD. It's basically Jean-Claude Van Damme. Not only was he a movie star, but he was a like a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible kind of guy in real life. And so his movies were just like a pretext for him to travel to these locations where these missions would happen. And his hair and makeup people are like his sidekicks who know all the technology and help him. They're like his handlers. And the show is really funny, poking fun at Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. There's this one scene in one of them where he's in the middle of like 30 people and they're all bad guys. And they go, let's get him. And they all go to rush him. And the leader's like, whoa. Not all at once, just one at a time. You're going to like trip over it. It's going to be confusing. So there's like so many scenes like that where it just completely rips on his movies. And he's such a good sport to go through with it. But I really, really enjoyed episode 1 and makes fun of Hollywood like crazy. He goes to this restaurant called Dry Ramen. And he's like, can you put some hot water on it? They're like, no, it's called dry ramen.
That is very funny. All right, I guess I'll have to check that out.
It's very fun. It's a really fun. It's up and down a little bit, but I really enjoyed episode 1, and I'm going to watch the rest of the series, whether or not episode 2, whether or not it goes downhill. I'm going to watch the rest of it, just see how it is.
And then, I don't know if anyone read the article I sent you guys on Den of Geek about how Jean-Claude Van Damme was originally cast as the Predator in the original Predator.
Oh, I must have missed that email. Sorry, missed that email.
Yeah, so he's not super tall, right? They ended up
he's quite short.
Yeah.
They ended up casting somebody who's very tall, right?
Yeah, well, so what happened was that their original concept for the Predator was it was going to be like a ninja, where it was like super agile and dodging between trees and stuff like that. And so they thought that Van Damme would be good for that. And so they cast him as the Predator. And I don't know if like people didn't explain clearly to him what was going on or what, but he thought he was all excited. He's like, oh, I'm going to be in this movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. We're going to fight each other. It's going to be awesome. And then he shows up on set and they put him in this huge costume where he's not going to be able to like be agile or anything. And also the costume was not this was like an early prototype of the costume. And it was like all bright red because they were doing they make the Predator invisible in the movie. Mm. And no one had explained to him that he was going to be invisible for most of the movie either. So he's like, he gets there thinking he's going to be in this movie. And then it's like, oh, actually, you're going to be in this bright red costume and you're going to be invisible for most of the movie. And he was really pissed off. And so he either quit or got fired after like 2 days. I forget. Oh. But he and it was like hot, they're like in the jungle and he's in this like stupid costume and he's like pissed off. And then after he left, they're like, man, this costume sucks. And so then they hired Stan Winston, who's like the best monster costume person of all time. And he designed, it just turned out was like on a flight with James Cameron at the time, like around the time that they hired him to do Predator. And James Cameron was like, oh, I've always thought they should do an alien movie where the alien had mandibles. And so then Stan Winston's like, oh, that's a great idea. So it all like, and then they hired some actor who's like 7 feet tall and it all became the Predator that we know. But yeah, you can find shots of Van Damme in the jungle in a bright red alien costume, looking very unhappy from his 2 days on set.
I kind of don't blame him about the heat. That would have been torture.
Yeah.
In a costume.
All right. Do I have any other? I guess the last thing maybe I'll mention is like you just like Van Damme gives some very like odd interviews. Oh wait, there's one other piece of trivia. I did not know this, that the Mortal Kombat video game was originally supposed to be a Van Damme video game, but there was something with the rights. I think like somebody else already owned the video game rights at the time or something, so they had to make it, Mortal Kombat rather than Van Damme Combat. But the Johnny Cage character is just supposed to be Van Damme. They made it like as close to Van Damme as they could without, infringing.
Rights to his name or rights to a movie? Like, couldn't he just...
You mean the video game you're talking about?
Like Mortal Kombat, I'm not sure which like do you know Johnny Cage is the main character in Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying they couldn't get the rights to what? To make it Van Damme?
To his like image or whatever. Because he had already sold it to some other video game.
Oh, okay.
There was some other video game entity that held the Van Damme video game image rights at the time, so they couldn't, they couldn't get them. They weren't available to be bought, basically.
Huh.
So I never knew that. But I just wanted to read this quote from a interview, just to give you a flavor of what his interviews are like. Quote, "I love peanuts. You drink a beer and you get sick of the taste, so you eat peanuts. Peanuts are mild and salty, strong and soft, like a woman. Eating peanuts, it's a really strong feeling. Then after, you feel like drinking beer again. Peanuts are perpetual motion within man's reach."
Sounds like Homer Simpson, not this guy who's like got washboard abs.
Yeah.
Peanuts and beer. Also, did he by any chance write any of the dialogue for The Phantom Menace? I hate sand. Gets everywhere. Not like you. You're soft.
No, that was Attack of the Clones, I think.
Oh, pardon me. I forgot which one. They blurred together.
Which one was that?
Where Anakin Skywalker and Padme are like falling in love on the planet with the rainbow, with the waterfalls.
Where Barney apparently is from.
And there's sand there, and he.
Yeah, there's a famous line. There's a famous line where Anakin says, like, oh wait, how does it go? Something like,
he says, "I hate sand.
I hate sand.
It gets so everywhere.
Rough, not like you. You're so soft. Something.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh Lord!
It's like the worst dialogue ever.
I completely have blocked those movies out of my memory.
It just you triggered that when you were like, "I like peanuts. They're soft like a woman."
Jesus,
I can see that. All right, we should start wrapping this up. It's all Andrea's fault, I think, is the
all right.
The bottom
fine,
line.
Boy. You guys are so soft. Unbelievable.
We're like peanuts.
Like
and
peanuts.
Sand.
Yeah, you're a bunch of peanuts. That's gonna be the thing from now on. You're a bunch of peanuts.
No. What's gonna happen is Thomas and I and David are gonna conspire, and we're gonna come up with some movies and make you watch them.
I am totally down with this. I am totally down. You guys, I am a historical lover of terrible movies.
I know.
The only thing I hated was Replicant for previously stated reasons.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
But I love a good bad movie. You cannot torture me with this. Sorry.
Well,
do your worst. Do your worst, peanuts.
We're gonna do a panel on abuse science fiction.
Oh God.
Yeah. Like I said, if I had watched these with friends and maybe there were some intoxicants involved, I might have enjoyed them a bit more, so we could make fun of it together. Watching them alone was kind of depressing.
Well, seriously,
you don't know how to live, Matt. Good Lord.
I'll say I liked Universal Soldier a lot more than I was expecting to, and I had fun watching it. I had a lot of fun watching Timecop until like the end. It started getting boring. Like when she's like hanging off the roof, I was like, okay, it's time for this movie to be over. But I didn't hate it. Replicant and Cyborg, I did basically hate. There's no getting around that one. But, I had fun watching 2 of the 4 anyway, so it's better than nothing.
We should do a panel on sequels of bad science fiction movies from the 80s.
Yeah.
That would be real torture. Like, I was just thinking of Universal Soldiers
did you
sequels.
We can review all 5 sequels to Universal Soldiers.
Do you know there's a sequel to Starship Troopers?
Oh, there's a ton.
I stumbled across it.
Yeah.
No, there's like 10.
There's more than one? I've only seen one, and I was just like, whoa. This
we need
is...
to inflict on ourselves, like, Clockwork Orange, when they keep his eyes open with a metal device, so he's forced to watch all those films.
I might not want to watch that one.
Yeah.
That one's disturbing as well.
We should each bring our worst possible science fiction movie to a panel and try to like make each other try to be like who wins, who gets the worst one.
I'm totally down for my favorite bad science fiction movie episode.
Well, actually, so Andrea had a whole page of suggestions, like Sylvester Stallone movies. Kurt Russell movies.
Science fiction action stars from the 80s series.
Apparently, Schwarzenegger tricked Stallone into doing Halt or My Mom Will Shoot, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, because he was, after Twins, Stallone was like, I want to do a movie like that. And he was talking to Schwarzenegger on the phone, and Schwarzenegger was like, yeah, I turned that movie down. He turned it down, but he didn't tell Stallone that. He said, oh, that's a really good movie. I'm thinking of doing it. And Stallone went and did it, and then later he's like,
oh, sweet.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so we need to wrap this up. But bottom line is, there's plenty more 80s action star panels where this one came from. All thanks to Andrea. So.
You're welcome. We've started a whole new thing, and I feel good about that.
All right, so keep or stay tuned for that. But definitely need a break right now. So let's wrap things up there. So again, we've been speaking with Andrea Kail, Matthew Kressel, and Tom Gerencer. So thanks everyone so much for joining us.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
And that was our panel. So big thanks again to Andrea Kail, Matthew Kressel, and Tom Gerencer for joining us on the show. This episode of Geek's Guide to the Galaxy was made possible thanks to support from listeners like you. So if you enjoyed the show and want it to continue, please support us on Patreon over at patreon.com/geeks or via PayPal over at geeksguideshow.com/crowdfunding. All right, so that was our show. So thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time.